just to give you understanding of the data privacy law, give you some clear roadmaps on the implementation, how the implementation is going to work on that. What are the current challenge and opportunities there? There's a huge business opportunity for all of us here, okay? And also we'll just talk a couple of slides, just 1 or 2 slides on the data privacy. The trust privacy, my company is there, okay? So what is data privacy? Any thought process from anybody? Data privacy? Data privacy basically refers to individuals' rights, okay? How their personal data is controlled, collected, used, managed, and destroyed, right? So if we're talking about personal data and how the personal data can be used with the consent and responsibility. So 3 words here: personal data, consent, and using with responsibility. These are very, very important factors about that. The personal data can be anything, your mobile phone number. Yeah. If somebody has a mic, yeah, please. So personal data can be anything on the emails, telephone numbers, addresses, anything basically on that. Can you get some mic too? Yes, sir.
Sir, my question is that in initial time, we have installed many apps in our phones or somewhere else. In that time, most of the data has lost. So now the time, our all details has been passed or stored in somebody's phone, our Aadhaar card, PAN, email ID, mobile numbers, that. And the data cannot be changed in many ways. So my question is how can we secure that data?
See, whatever is gone, okay? This whole thing is for how you can take going forward, okay? This law will really put a, you can say, break on the companies, okay? Some rules and regulation on the company, how they can use the personal data. See, so far, whatever personal data we got, either to bought it, something like that, it got it from anywhere, okay? We consider that is our personal property.
Okay.
But the whole thing will change here, that personal data of anybody is there. You are just a custodian of the data. You are not the owner of the data.
Okay.
If you just get that concept, the things will be a lot more different here actually on that.
Okay.
Okay. There are a couple of key terms I'm going to use it here. Okay. We will, because that's whenever you go through the data privacy law, you're going to listen all these things. So personal data, basically any data which related to individual by which you can identify a person. Okay. That's a personal data actually on that. This law talks only related to the digital data. Anything which is on the paper is not related so far. The moment you scan it, put in the digital form, the law applies to this one. First, data principal. So basically, if I'm talking about my data, basically I'm the data principal. Okay. Data fiduciary. Data for any company which has a purpose and means of collecting the data. Any company which has personal purpose, I mean, you want to go out for a marketing purpose, you want to collect the data. So you become data fiduciary.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And data processor. If you outsource to somebody to something like that, that's where you have a data processor. But there is a very key difference is there. Data fiduciaries and data processor. Okay. The law 100% responsibility is on data fiduciaries. Data processor has no responsibility directly, but you have to relate to the data producer.
Okay, nice, sir. But my again, I am asking you that is there any chance that we can recover our data now at the time the social media like Facebook, Instagram?
This law is putting a framework by which the personal data can be regularized.
Okay.
Maybe going forward you will see some technology, something is coming, you may be able to see. This gives law, gives access to you. You can ask the data fiduciary, basically the company, to delete your data, to modify your data, okay, if they have something like that. So this gives you control on that. Okay. So people do talk about a lot of penalties things actually on that, where the company should have a 10 crores to 250 crores penalty, something like that. That is not the only reason. That is not the only reason why should you get into that. Yes, law requires you to comply with that. But one of the major important thing about the data, basically operational efficiency. See, imagine the data you have today. Okay, general tendency is there for a marketing person also. If he goes there and say he's collecting some data from the market, only 2 parameters are required, and he will say, boss, anyway my guy is going to collect all the 10 more. Whether it's needed or not needed, we'll get it on that. So that puts a strain on your infrastructure also. Okay, and also if any person, any data principal come to you, can you sir delete my data or modify my data? I think most of the people today, those who are not gone into the DP implementation, does not know where the data is lying on that. How many copies of your data is there? Okay, so that basically once you start cleaning up the whole thing as a process of DPDP implementation, the data discovery and classification is one of the first steps you have to do it. That will help like a house cleaning in the Diwali time, right? So it cleans up the whole, put all the storage in one place, all the data principal data, your data principal personal data in one place, so that you can have an operational efficiency, and the capex expense also brings down actually on that. Okay, financial penalty, we talked about that. It's very huge penalties on that. Building trust, I mean, today you don't see that, but I think from 5 years down the road, you're going to see that this becomes a very, very key trust point from the customer. Imagine that if you know this person, his company is leaking your data every day, selling your data, you will not like to do business with that person, right? So this is what slowly it's going to put in the trust as a tag, basically, that I'm DPDP compliant. That will become a big thing actually in the going forward. Okay, and because India is, you can say, one of the last country who got the personal data, the law. Okay, because almost 144 countries have already implemented the data privacy law. GDPR was one of the primary one, but this is the one. So we go into business in the international arena, you definitely need that. Non-compliance can have a reputational damage, operational disturbance because of the whatever the board, that regulatory board is going to put pressure on that. Okay, and also the legal and financial compliance consequences. I will just go through the few slides just to give you an overview on the what are the key rules are there, then we can proceed on that. Okay, the rule basically, the law was passed in 2023, but the rule came on November 13, 2025. They were given 18 months. So the May 13th, 2027 is a deadline. Every organization in the country must comply with the DPDP law. Okay. Although there are some still, I mean, the Data Protection Board is a regulatory authority, that is still, constitution is still pending on that. Data fiduciaries, the company's liability basically, what are the main things? They must provide a clear consent. Okay, very granular levels, one by one item. You can't have everything combined, clubbed kind of things actually on that. And all the security safeguard need to be taken. So data security as a basic framework plays a very, very important role here. Most of the penalties are related to the breach, data security breach, something like that. Okay. So all this encryption, access control, everything need to be done. Consent management is another concept coming up as an aggregator. Okay, where a company, it will be more for the data principal kind of thing, aggregator, who will be basically collecting your consent and passing on to different companies actually on that. Breach notification is one of the biggest problem and biggest things. I mean, the data breach, what government wanted to control here. You have got a 72 hour. See, when you have a data security breach, you got a 6 hour for the certain notification. Where he is 72 hours here, but the main difference is, okay, you need to notify to the data principal who are affected. What has the breach is there, what impact it has, and what remedies you are doing that. And plus the data protection board. So the two where you have to go and communicate within 72 hours. And most of the penalties is going to be related to that, whether you have taken a proper steps or not. Okay, processing and retention of data. Today, so far, whatever data we have, keep on collecting. But the law will say, this says that you cannot keep the data permanently with you. You have to erase it out based on the needs. So there are some general laws are there in this one, but there are some sectorial laws also there, like medical, that the MHA has a different law, the banking, financial, the RBI has a different law. So that will prevail over top of this one. Okay. There are also a special provision for the children's and disabled data. Anybody who is less than 18 years, the data need to be taken only with the consent of the parents actually on that. Significantly, fiduciary is one identity where data is very sensitive, where a large number of data are there. That company need to have a DPO on board, and audit requirement is very essential there. Data protection board anyway is coming up there. Data retention period, how much data you can put it, there is a specific period by which after that you have to delete the data. Okay. There is a 48 hours notice required before the erasure of data, personal data. Generally, there are 1 year given for the keeping the data from the last interaction, but if there are certain categories where the 3 years is also given actually on that. Okay. This is just one chart. I just wanted to show you there are a lot of talks about the erasers, things are there, data erasers are there. When your data is end of life, that's a proper eraser required, complete device or something like that eraser. But when you talk about the data eraser within the DPDP compliance, then it's actually record eraser is there. Okay, there are a lot of data principles, the core principles there like purpose limitations and data minimizations. You can't collect everything what you want. Be specific what you want to collect or something like that. Okay. So there are different step process there. They're not easy to implement. There are some steps need to be followed on that. Okay, like gap analysis, and then you have to complete. Okay, so I will not go into details on that. We can discuss in that. But just one portion, trust privacy. We are offering all the training, consultancy, and other things actually on that. Very specific thing I just wanted to talk here. Okay, deadline is there. There's a huge demand and supply gap is there. Okay, the one study says that we are short of manpower in 97%. So there's a huge requirements for the trained people who can go and do the implementation. Okay, so what we can do? Can we work together on that? There are a lot of things we can help it on that. Okay. I have started it workshop kind of concept where I can take 10 to 15 people there. Okay, either you as a system integrator or you want to get your corporate partners, we can get there, we can work together actually. I can be a backbone for you. Okay, so workshop can be done, we can organize a dedicated work for the partners actually on that.